0, and liftoff.
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Mission CTRL. This is your host, Ramon Peralta with Peralta Design, and we launch brands. Today in studio, we have none other than Doug Rawady, the Business Development Director at Sandler Training and the President and Founder of Business Concierge Solutions, BCS. Welcome to the show, Doug.
Thank you, Ramon. Always a pleasure to be here in your company, your collective company.
Yes, we're happy to have you here, and also want to welcome our right-hand man, the man on the soundboard, our Director of Web Development, Mr. Jorge Pezo Candelario.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's a big Yankees fan. It happens sometimes.
He's suffering from an identity crisis as we speak.
I just had Jose of Nueva Network. Jose from Nueva Network is who I've kept up with the most on LinkedIn, as I just found out. So he was on top of mind, but no excuse. It is Jorge Pezo Candelario.
How's it going, everyone? Pleasure to be here.
Yes, wow. What an opening. Our fans were going crazy, and all of a sudden you can hear a pin drop.
It just goes to show that we are fallible.
Well, we're human. This is not AI. This is
not yet.
This is a real show. No, we're working on that. No, this is a real show. And Doug, we laugh and jest because we're positive guys going into Q1 2026. But what a year of turmoil and uncertainty.
Yep. Yeah. 2025, I think, for many people turned out to be a bit of a roller coaster ride. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, leaders, we're like the pilots of the plane. You know, like our staff, our clients, they look at us, and if we're not nervous or shaken, they're good. But tell us how your peer-to-peer council, that group, I just want to be a fly on the wall. Because sure. What are some of the things that leaders have been bringing to you to kind of try to solve?
So good question. And for those who don't know, the P2P, which is short for peer-to-peer Executive Council, is an initiative that we launched. It's not a global Sandler initiative. It's unique to us. We did this 5 years ago.
With BRBC, no?
It's correct. Right at the beginning of COVID, Dan D'Onofrio, who most of you in the area certainly know or know of, we had a conversation with him, and he expressed a desire to have a kind of a mastermind group for the upper level business owners. And that's not to diss anybody who's a member of the organization, but the fact that these are larger companies, by and
like
large.
A Vistage group.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. We kind of use that as a little bit of a model. We kind of borrowed some ideas and things. But the idea being that we wanted to have something that we could bring Sandler educational content to the table, and we don't limit it to Sandler, by the way, but to have it be kind of a mastermind group for a select group of people who've been with us now, many of them for 5 years, which is pretty remarkable. We meet once a month, and it's a 2.5 hour brain dump, and what's going on with you, what problems are you having, hot seats and things of that nature. And obviously COVID was stressful for everybody. It was, anybody who's listening here who was doing business or even alive during COVID knows it was no bed of roses. And this, 2025 was similar in the sense that there was a lot of uncertainty, and there still is uncertainty. It's like when you've got economic uncertainty, when you've got whether it's tariffs or supply chain or just consumers not knowing where and how they're going to spend their money, it impacts everyone. It's not just small business; it's business across the board.
Absolutely, I think nonprofits. I've been predicting this year, 26 is going to be particularly tough because a lot of social services and grants and money that went to nonprofits was cut last year. They're relying more on donors. Yep. Now, we're big donors, but if we're not getting the business, we don't have anything to donate. So it kind of it goes, as they say, shit rolls downhill. It's like it's a chain reaction that we're seeing, and it's making things more challenging. And I can tell you as a business owner that we haven't caught a break since COVID. I remember during COVID, the story was if you're flat, it's a win. Like when you're asking, business leaders are asking each other about sales, it's like, well, if you didn't dip from last year and you're kind of flatlining, like somewhere along the line, our bar got so low that instead of seeing growth, we're being complacent with,
we're still breathing.
Flatlining. like having a pulse.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, flatlining actually is not having a pulse, so that would be even worse.
It's not flatline.
Yeah, right.
No, we need the blip every now and then. Yep. But from this group, maybe give us a few examples of some of the challenges that maybe. Let's focus on solutions. We're
Sure.
gonna keep this positive, but let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, you've got different industries. I mean, it isn't like we've got 20 people. I mean, it's a pretty tight group, around 8 to 10 people on a semi-regular basis. And you've got different industries represented. You've got construction, you've got manufacturing, you've got one of our members has a design company, an architectural design company. So they're related in the sense that they're not I mean, you could argue it's B2C because their end customers are consumers of a sort, but they're basically doing business with other businesses. And so you're seeing kind of an amplification of the problem with respect to them being able to service their customers appropriately. And in the case of like a construction company that might put together a complicated bid that could be very sizable in terms of dollars and cents, when there's a lot of decision making being made about when to go to market with this, and then all of a sudden the supply chain has caused their materials to go up in cost. Now you've got to go back and revisit the quote, which maybe is not going to sit real well with the end user who's looking to build a large building, for example. So there's been that, and some of those things are, I hate to say it, beyond their control. I mean, it's like you do what you can to try to maintain the relationship, but if you're a company that you can't operate you got to make money. I mean, at the very least, you got to try to break even and cover costs, but nobody's in business to do that.
Right.
They have to make money. So that's been the tap dance for some folks. And it's almost a domino principle, because now somebody else is being impacted by this and somebody else is being impacted by this. And if you're the organization that was planning on doing this new addition or this new thing because it was going to enhance your bottom line, now you've got to put it off too. So there's a cause and effect to everything.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like the butterfly effect. Like you move a grain of sand, everything changes.
Yep.
You're seeing in real time with all the layoffs that we're seeing. There's going to be more. This Q1 saw a ton. Q4 chalk that up to AI or whatever it might be. But just the tariffs you're seeing. One example is a printer friend of mine getting a new piece of equipment. A lot of them come from Europe, Germany,
sure.
China, whatever it might be. Tariffs raise the price on that piece of equipment. So now guess what? If the equipment is more expensive, then the consumer is going to pay more for whatever they're printing. So it gets down to the consumer, and now you have people without jobs, but everything costs more.
Yeah, not a good combination.
It's like,
I'm sorry, I'm not making money, and now you're asking me to pay more money. Yeah,
and then the nonprofits, they're getting their funding cut. Now they're relying more on private donors.
Yeah,
and the private donor is out here trying to, make ends meet.
Yeah.
It's a grim picture but I always have to remind myself, tough times don't last, tough people do.
Good saying. I like that.
This group that you've put together is bringing some real heavy hitters together and bringing some solutions. Now, when they're talking about these things, is there a way that Sandler is, I would say, sharing that in general? Are you guys putting out a newsletter?
Well, I'm going to say it's a yes and no answer.
I know some of it is private.
Not to be evasive. Yes,
some of it has to be kept within that circle.
The advantage of a group like that, Ramon, is when we again decided to have this be like only one vertical per member.
Right.
So it's not like you got 20 people that are in whatever HVAC. It's like there's only one. And when you've got these sort of brainstorming sessions or mastermind sessions, what happens very often is you get a synergy that you wouldn't get if you were talking to a bunch of literal peers within your space. So it's like when if you're a member of an association, for example, that maybe
it becomes like an echo chamber.
Exactly. I mean, we're all kind of facing the same problem. So the solutions we come up with, because they're industry specific, may not be of as much value as getting input from somebody outside your industry. And that's when the light bulbs tend to go off. When somebody who's not related to your industry but says, well, have you thought about this? And you're like, oh, actually, I never did. And you would probably never would have if it hadn't come from somebody outside your space.
Right.
That doesn't mean that it's always going to be workable as a solution. But we tend to be, as in Bob Carbonell and myself, we facilitate the sessions. We will try to guide the conversation in a way that's productive. And I mean, if Sandler has content that can directly address it, of course, we're going to bring that into the mix. But we're not also relying strictly on Sandler content. I mean, we'll bring in whether it's Simon Sinek or you name the leader authority out there. If it's relevant to what these folks are going through, we'll bring it in. We'll bring it in and have it be a discussion. We'll do a book review, a deep dive on a book that could be something that they would all benefit from. And again, we're facilitating the discussion, but it's not all Sandler all the time. That's the way it tends to work.
Yeah, and I also think that it's an opportunity to kick the tires a little bit more. We're seeing it, with our proposals. We're kind of being challenged to scrutinize, deal with the scrutinization and the pitching and the questions. And I just think that people are looking to save money, and that's going to continue. So Jorge, I know we're looking into some AI solutions, incorporating AI.
Who isn't?
So we can say, okay, if this is going to reduce production time, then we can present a more cost-effective solution. So we have to think our way out of this, service our way out of this, because ultimately we want to help people regardless.
And the AI conversation is one that's only going to become more prevalent as we go forward, because it's a technology that is it's maturing. That may not be the best word, but it's accelerating.
It's
evolving much better.
At a rate untofore seen in human history. I mean, it's literally the Industrial Revolution, where before you had 12 guys digging a ditch, and now you have the backhoe, right? But now it's happening at a rate that we're not used to. You're used to technology coming in kind of generations, where you'll have Windows 95 to Windows 98 to Millennium. There's a couple of years, and you're seeing those generational leaps in months. 3 to 6 months, you're seeing this change. And the projection as of right now is that in 65 months, AI will be better than all humans at all tasks. And
that's comforting.
Right. So it's a crazy
what are
thing.
We here for?
right. But the whole bit is it's the human connection, that relationship, that where all the value lies. And it also comes down to using it as a tool, right? We liken it to Tony Stark, right? Tony Stark, Iron Man, who is a billionaire, who is a genius mind, but he can only do so much as him. But when he dons the Iron Man suit with Jarvis, now he's able to expand his capabilities, but still do.
And it's not Iron Man is not a robot by itself. Correct. There's a human inside. And he's also not just going on for a ride. He's actually engaging and manipulating, pushing buttons and directing it to do this and do that. So it's an enhancement.
Well, it's a cooperative relationship in effect. And I think from a business standpoint, and this is where it gets really a little bit hazy and maybe a little scary, because you look at it as a business person, how can I incorporate this into my business in a way that's going to increase efficiency and make things better? But if you're concerned about people without displacing people, and that may be unavoidable in some cases, really. I mean, because you're not going to keep people around just because you're a nice person, unless you've got incredibly deep pockets and can afford to pay somebody just to be here. If you can bring AI in to basically...
I mean, what's going to happen is when you're hiring, you're going to have someone that knows how to utilize AI and somebody that's averse to it or does not. And then you're going to hire the guy or gal that utilizes it or is familiar with it. So I think we've been saying this for years, but human plus AI is going to be AI. So that's kind of the formula going forward. And I mean, that's why I'm starting to talk about, hey, we gotta better understand Gen Z and the Gen Alpha, whatever the next group is, because they're going to be born with it. And they're going to really know how to master it.
Well, I think the best comparison would be, think about when the internet kind of came into its own, and the technology and the opportunities that were provided by the internet. If you were someone who was born and raised during that time, you never knew what came before it. And you obviously adapted to it because it was there, and you kind of had to, in a manner of speaking. That's what you're just describing, I think, that it's going to be...
And in the sake of this conversation, we're keeping it to like cost savings, cost effectiveness, doing more with less. We're seeing like teams get, AI agents or agent force, or, kind of like adding AI to each of your departments and teams so that you can continue to punch above your weight. And I think that's what we're going to see more. And like, we have to be hopeful that it's going to create more jobs the way the steam engine did.
Yeah.
There's going to be more AI, folks around that ecosystem. And Jorge, we talked about this earlier in the rising costs with memory and the computers and the cost of computers going up.
Yeah, and it's incredible in that the demand, this AI, and this is a thing where a lot of the industry is in the belief that this is a bubble, right? That it's a lot of people are likening it to the early .com boom, which Ramon remembers vividly.
2000s, yeah.
And that it can only be sustained for so long, and other folks are seeing this as like a total paradigm shift. So the potential exists for both, but the issue at the moment is that the demand is such that we are seeing these data centers come up, and you're seeing demand for GPUs and memory like we've never seen before.
Yeah.
So looking about this time last year, 64 gigabytes of memory might have been around 150 or so, and that cost has skyrocketed up to about 600 for the same component. And a lot of it's just down to supply and demand.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you can get your hands on it, this is the price that you're going to pay.
Yeah.
Because the individual consumer can't beat out the data center who's buying it in droves.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, plus you've had major manufacturers also bow out of the race because they just can't. They can't keep up with the rate of demand, and it's ultimately costing them more. So we've now gotten to this point where, you're gonna have to be able to do more with less, and without breaking the bank.
Well, the challenge on our end, I get back to Sandler for a second. The challenge, of course, is having leaders understand, and talking about AI still, for example, understand how it can be incorporated into their business in a way that benefits them and hopefully doesn't displace anybody or very many people in the process. But it's, I'm going to say in the short term anyway, it's probably not going to get to the point where AI is running the company. There still will be somebody sitting at the top of the food chain who will be directing things to happen and making initiatives and making ideally good leadership decisions. And our goal in this group is to obviously get people dialed into the best approach to running a business and tying the technology into the business and also having it cooperate with the people that are there. Same thing with sales. I mean, for the time being anyway, any of us being salespeople, we are going to be dealing with other people in the sales process.
Right.
And
relationships will still matter.
Absolutely. And in fact, I would argue they will matter more.
Yeah, there's a yearning for it.
Yeah. So understanding the techniques and the things that are essential to I'm not saying being manipulative, that's not it at all, but being able to drive the sales process in a way that benefits everybody. Benefits the end user and also the person who's selling the product.
Absolutely. Let's take a break here. So when we come back, we're going to talk all about business concierge solutions.
Sounds good.
Ever tried Paint and Sip? Well, this is Paint and Kicks. Kicksmith Studio was founded by a group of sneaker enthusiasts with the goal of sharing their love of sneakers in a new and creative way. They believe that sneakers are more than just footwear. They are a form of art that reflects self-expression and culture. Their goal is to provide a fun, inclusive, and innovative space where anyone can explore their artistic side and create something truly unique. Kicksmith Studio is one of Peralta Design's most recent brand launches, and they are a great place for team and corporate events, birthday parties, or date nights. For more information, visit kicksmithstudio.com.
All right, everybody, this is Ramon Peralta with Peralta Design. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share our show. That's Mission Control on all your favorite platforms.
Mission Control.
And we're back. Please help me welcome once again Doug Rawady, Business Development Director for Sandler.com. Sandler Training.
Yep.
And the president, el presidente, and founder.
I like that. I like the way you say that.
Yes. Presidente of Business Concierge Solutions.
Yes.
The fans are going wild. I hope you brought
I'm telling you,
tchotchkes
man,
or something.
I gotta live up to this adulation now for sure.
Well, congratulations on this new venture.
Thank you.
Where did you sketch it on a napkin, or did it come to you in a dream?
Maybe some combination of the two, but the genesis to this actually goes back quite a few years. Yeah. I mean, I've been, as of this conversation, I've been with Sandler for 6 years, and I have always been involved in sales, and I've always had an interest in things that could contribute to business development and business efficiencies and all the rest of those. So I've over time have created some affiliate alliances, and none of them being in direct competition with Sandler, but recognizing that in the course of conversation with business owners, there may be needs other than leadership, management, or sales training. Not to say everybody needs it. I mean, not that they can't get better at it, but it's not always the number one concern.
Yeah.
So in the course of the conversation, if you're dealing with a business owner that's open to discussion, you ask questions. You find out about what's going on. Where are the needs? Where are the shortcomings? What are they really good at? Maybe what are they struggling with? And what I have done, I mean, not just by virtue of research and understanding that, I have created some affiliate relationships with quite a number of unique B2B service providers. And most of the focus of their offerings is on either increasing efficiency, potentially saving money, and in some cases making money, having through technology, looking at ways to actually increase revenue without necessarily having to bring more people into the process. And the nice thing about it is most of them, not all of them, but most of them actually operate on a contingent compensation basis. So there's to the business owner, there's literally no risk associated with exploring some of these things, because other than maybe a little bit of their time, they're not being asked to invest any money into it. But the return is going to put more money in their pocket in one form or another, either because they're operating more efficiently or they're saving money in places they never knew they could save money.
So, for example, somebody in this, is it like a networking group or a chamber of some sort? They'll say, hey, I can come into your business and help you save, like somebody that does like Lean Six Sigma or something.
I'll give an example. So one of the clients that I introduced to one of the services here it's an AP automation. It's basically, it has to be a large enough company for this to work, but the provider has a time-tested, proven accounts payable automation system that actually turns AP into a revenue source, which is kind of weird when you think about paying your bills.
You're paying your bills and you're going to make money.
Yes, but you're
somehow?
making money. Yes. So through technology, it's automating pretty much fully and automating the entire process. The process is routing the payment through ACH or through checks or through credit cards. And the credit cards, if it's a single use card,
points or something.
Cash back. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So if you're dealing with suppliers that actually accept card as payment, you direct as much of the payment through that channel as you can, and it can actually be a substantial revenue source. So all of a sudden now they've massively upgraded their accounts payable and they're making money in the process, which is kind of a unique concept.
That is.
And that's just one service, for example.
Yeah.
So there's a variety of things like that allow a business to actually, and again, technology being the thing that kind of informs the process, that allows them to operate at a higher level, a more efficient level, and either save money, maybe not necessarily make money, but the savings will actually be bottom line based. They'll actually realize money, and then the provider will get some percentage of the savings as a contingent compensation provider.
You know, how do you vet these guys? How do you say, okay, I'm going to get behind this, or I'm going to add you to this?
So it's a good question, yeah, and I'm a member of a few different groups where these things, the providers are pretty thoroughly vetted before they ever even come into the channel, if you will, the channel partner channel, and I don't go out and start talking about them until I have a pretty solid comfort level with their ability to deliver and the fact that they've been around long enough.
You're putting your brand name out there.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. But the nice thing is, it opens up the conversation. So when talking to a business owner, I always, my favorite analogy is like having a quiver full of arrows, and you never know what arrow you need to pull out. Hawkeye, use a Marvel reference, but it's like, you don't know.
Why was I thinking Green Arrow? I'm a Marvel guy, but I was
they're
thinking,
both valid.
Yeah.
Well, Green Arrow too, if you like.
Yeah, dressed like Peter Pan, I guess. Yeah.
I'm kind of a Hawkeye guy myself.
Yeah, I'm a Hawkeye guy.
So Jeremy Renner to the rescue. So, but
although he kind of changed it without the mask and everything. I was used to the comic book Hawkeye.
True.
But I liked his take, and I did the Hawkeye costume a couple of years ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
you did.
Okay.
My youngest always picks up what we are, so she wanted to be Avengers. She was Black Panther, and I was
nice. Okay.
I did the vest, the patch, and the quiver. It was great.
Well, what a coincidence! I should bring that up, not knowing that you are you once dressed up as Hawkeye.
He's actually Hawkeye.
Oh my God,
he is actually Hawkeye.
Well, the analogy is a fair one because you don't know when you're first going in the door. I mean, and this is not in any way, shape, or form dissing Sandler.
You used the DC reference earlier though, the tool belt, the bat belt.
Yeah, there you go, for sure. But being able to have, if the business owner, and if it's a large enough business, you may be talking to the CFO versus the CEO, but you're talking to somebody who may have concerns about overhead or expenses, and it may not be a conversation that is going to move down the path of sales training or management training or leadership training, but you may uncover some needs that one or more of these other services can actually satisfy. And that's if they're open to the conversation, because I don't do pressure sales at all. It's like, look, are you open to looking at what this might entail? And in my role, I'm not technically even selling the service. I'm acting as a
connector,
a handoff. Exactly. Yeah, we'd like to know more. Let me set up.
And then what happens if they make a deal? You get
I get either a chunk of money or I get ongoing a small piece of the money on an ongoing basis. So everybody wins, and for the most part, the exposure is non-existent. Which is just really, really appealing. I mean, I think to any business owner.
Can't really argue with that. I mean, the opportunity to optimize, to save or generate with only upside, and if you don't, and that's the only time that you're only paying out of what the benefit is to you.
Yes.
So I mean,
I often use the term much to other people's chagrin, no-brainer, because it kind of is. When you look at the thing holistically and you understand that you're not exposed financially or otherwise, and that there is going to be nothing but upside, it's kind of like, why would you not take a closer look at this? And at the end of the day, they may have every good reason to decide not to move forward. That's fine. That's totally fine. But at least be open-minded enough to investigate.
All right.
Yeah.
And how many folks are in this group so far?
Well, a lot.
Let's just say verticals or services.
Oh my God. It's not every service under the sun, because many of these are really geared for larger companies. Not again, this is nothing against small business, but the AP automation one I just mentioned, the cost of admission, so to speak, is you got to be doing at least $30 million a year in revenue and have $10 million plus in AP spend. I mean, so that
right, and then take 3% of that, and automatically, the dollars.
It's got to be worth it.
Yeah. I mean, that rules it out. Not every company, by the way, is has to meet that criteria, but it is typically for larger. I mean, large business, small to large, and maybe even enterprise business. So it's not for everybody, but you never know where the conversation may go. And as far as Sandler goes, we work with companies like that. Yeah.
And how did that conversation go with Bob when you were like, "Hey, I'm starting something"?
I was again not. None of it, I have to stress again, none of this is in competition with Sandler at all. And in fact, it's
in alignment.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking to somebody about sales training and it could be expensive, Sandler very often is, and they go, we don't have the budget for it. Well, I could say, well, what if I can show you a way to actually come up with the money to cover the cost of the training? Which might very well be the case. Like, now you've got a cooperative. Now you've got a cooperation going on. So I was doing that a little bit on the side, not in like side hustle fashion.
But it sounds like it would help close a deal.
It could.
You were looking for a solution.
It could, absolutely. And if somebody's willing, I mean, if they see the need for the training enough, and the budget really is an issue, which it can be. I mean, we're not talking like $5 and we'll come in and train your organization. It could be a sizable amount of money, but here's a potential way to make that happen if they see the value and the need for the training.
Is the ideal client similar? The buyer avatar for Sandler, is it similar to who you would help with BCS?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I don't want to say across the board because, probably more often than not it would be. It's an interesting question because I hadn't really thought about it in that way. But yeah, you're not talking about organizations that are small as a rule. And for Sandler, we don't. I mean, not that we can't.
For Sandler training, I guess in theory you could help a small business leader.
Sure. With
the training, he may not, qualify or have the sales or the numbers of in billing to be part of BCS. But besides AP, what other types of business services? Because you got business concierge solutions. To me, a concierge is somebody that helps you.
Yep. Right.
So that's you. You would be the guy that would help this person or in business. But then, what other solutions? Could be
financial services. I have relationships with a handful of companies. Well, actually, that do sort of alternate funding. I mean, if you're a business that maybe has a hard time getting money from the bank, I actually can point you in the direction of a couple of organizations.
Not some guys with baseball bats, are you?
No. It's all above board, but it's a way to secure capital in sort of I'm going to say a non-traditional way. Baseball bats. Yes, please come to me with the baseball bat. We'll fix you up. We'll give you all kinds of money, but there's a cost. Yeah, no, we don't do that. Technology is a potential part of it. I mean, one of the providers is a huge international technology services provider who has with relationships to 800 to 1,000 different suppliers. So whether it's just paying less money for your Microsoft subscriptions or getting AI or anything like that, that's a resource. There's a handful of different things there, and it's just very situational. There's some like employee benefit stuff that doesn't cost money, that can actually augment any existing benefits and actually save money and generate money in some cases. So it's a pretty good mix.
Yeah, that's the preventative care.
Yep.
Yeah. So okay. So I mean, it sounds like wraparound services for businesses.
Yeah, and Ramon, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's a soup to nuts thing. It isn't. But for a large enough business, there's probably something in there that could benefit them.
And you see the future of it being that it grows and you continue to add services.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Has that potential?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, you couldn't have picked a longer domain.
I know.
But it's available.
I know. I seized
Concierge
it. Solutions.com. There you go.
Hey.
Yeah.
It's available. But I mean, what I like is you got a lot of keywords in there. Somebody might be searching for any of those and might be able to find you there. So, so I love it. And this Q1 is the big debut.
Yeah, it's kind of the kickoff. I mean, this has been kind of in the works for a while, and I'm putting all the pieces of the puzzle in the right place and order and all that. But yeah, and fortunately, because of my association with the chambers and all that, I'm fortunate that I know a lot of people, and it's like, if it's not them directly, who do you know that knows who you need to know? Yeah, that's been my motto from day one. So
right. I love it. You're monetizing it, and you built a great brand for yourself. You're a connector, likable. You're genuinely helping people. So I mean, it makes sense.
Well, at the end of the day, that's what informs my whole approach to business. How can I help you?
Yeah, and
how can I add value?
That's a good mantra for 2026, because folks are beaten down. Yeah. There's just, whether it's the news or their situations, cost of goods. If we could all get more on board with that in the spirit of helping each other in service, and how can I add value? I think that's where we win.
I think in life in general. I mean, especially in business, but in life, to be somebody who's a giver and a contributor, not a taker. I think that's kind of the way to
and I advise of that as well. Like when you go to a networking event, there's two types of energies. There's the energy of like, who can I get business from? Yeah. And those are the guys, right, that just throw a business card in your face, or you meet them and their follow-up email is a pitch. Yeah. You don't know the person yet. Yeah. Versus the energy where it's like, how can I help you? Who can I connect you with? If it's not me, I may know somebody that can help you. That's a different energy.
I'll make a real quick book recommendation. You just reminded me, and it's not a new book, but it's still very applicable to what you just said. It's called Love is the Killer App. Yeah. And written by Tim Sanders, who was at the time, he was the chief technology officer for Yahoo, and he's now a very highly regarded consultant, and he's, follow him on LinkedIn. He's brilliant. But the whole premise of the book was about basically be a giver. If you're out and like look for ways to help others connect. Yeah. And the killer app, of course, that's a less used expression now, but back 10, 15, 20 years ago, it was the killer app, man. It's the killer app.
The killer app.
Love is the killer app.
But Go Giver is another one that I love. Go Giver, and Go Giver sells more. And I'm listening to another one called Unreasonable Hospitality,
that's an interesting
which is great
title.
It's really from the restaurant industry. The old adage that you don't remember what someone said, but you remember how they made you feel.
Yes.
So it's on that level where it's like, just go above and beyond, and I think that's where we'll win too. As far as a differentiator is just making your clients feel awesome, amazing, go over the top, over deliver.
You can't lose with that philosophy and approach. I mean, because quite frankly, not a lot of people do that. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, the book's awesome. I recommend that one as well. But just examples like somebody, I don't know, forgot their leftovers at a restaurant, right, or something like that, and they forgot, I don't know, their purse. Well, instead of just bringing it back, you bring it back and, with a gift card and like napkins and like a set of silverware and I don't know, like just go beyond, like unreasonable.
Yeah.
Like they're never going to forget that restaurant.
Not like instead of bringing it back, pull out their credit cards and go on a vacation.
No, exactly.
That would be unreasonable.
We found your wallet, but it's empty. No, that would be the opposite.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
I love it. Let's take that energy into 2026. Just focus on how we can help others and add value.
Yeah. I like it.
Awesome. And where can they find out more?
Well, you go to the world's longest URL, www.businessconciergesolutions.com.
Wow,
and
that was a good.
you
yucked it up a little
I gotta
bit.
I gotta enunciate. Businessconciergesolutions.com. That's what you go to.
Mario.
That's all right. You come here and we bring you a drink with your concierge solutions, and everything's all good.
Oh God! All right, it's always fun to have you on the
it's
show.
always fun to be here.
Thanks for coming.
All right, guys, appreciate it.
All right, everybody, thank you for listening to this episode of Mission Control. Until next time, this is your host, Ramon Peralta with Peralta Design and